Taylor James Johnson here for That Bigfoot Show. Yes, that one. And today is a very, very special episode of That Bigfoot Show. Actually, they're all special in their own special way. But today we will be talking about Marvel's Sasquatch. That's right, Marvel has their very own Sasquatch because of course they do. They have everything. And the character of Sasquatch would first grace the pages of the Marvel comic book in X-Men issue 120 in 1979. 79. It's a great year. And other than being able to shapeshift into Bigfoot, Sasquatch's super abilities, superpowers include super strength, super speed, super intelligence, and he's a Jewish Canadian. But his real name, his human name, is Dr. Walter Lankowitz, who's a biochemist and a Green Bay Packer. And no, this is not exactly a real Sasquatch. This is a man who turns into a monster creature that kind of looks like Sasquatch, so he calls himself Sasquatch. So it's not officially Sasquatch, but neither am I. So yeah, this character of Sasquatch is very much like the Hulk. It's you know, the classic Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde story, where it is a mad scientist trying to control what he shouldn't, and ends up creating a monster out of himself. Classic story, and of course, Marvel does a great job with it. Because this character is almost a Hulk wannabe, or at least the human version is. Dr. Walter, he's actually friends with Dr. Bruce Banner, and thinks that, you know, Dr. Bruce isn't exactly the best Hulk, and thinks that he can do better, can actually control the monster inside. And so Dr. Walter does this gamma radiation experiment to try to Hulk himself, and of course he ends up opening a portal to the realm of the beasts, where his soul and his mind and his body get intertwined, twisted up with a hairy-looking monster creature who goes by the name of Tanarak. Tanarok? So it's actually kind of like a Freaky Friday scenario, but with more body hair. And many comic book readers / nerds would call this more of a demonic Sasquatch possession. Because sometimes, a lot of the time, Dr. Walter isn't exactly in control of his mind, his body, and his soul. Sometimes the monster inside has more control. We can all relate to that, right?
It's the Sasquatch!
You ruined my chance to be normal. This time the change, it's irreversible. I am a beast forever because of you.
And of course, it isn't exactly easy for Dr. Walter to control his new Sasquatch-like skills, but eventually, with a little help from his friends, he learns to become one with the Squatch, which led to Sasquatch to become a key member of the Canadian super team Alpha Flight. And looky here, I actually have some Alpha Flight comics. Some of these are from like the 80s. Y'all remember the 80s? I don't. But yeah, Alpha Flight. I mean, he's part of a really cool Canadian super team where he's got you know, he's like there's the Vindicator, aka Guardian, who's, you know, he's like Captain America, but you know, with a maple leaf. Ooh, look at that. That's cool. There's also Puck. He's like a little guy. And of course there's Snowbird and Shaman, who's a super indigenous person. And there's North Star, who's like twins. And Marina, who's like an alien fish girl thing. But together, all of these super Canadians form Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight. Forget it, Vindicator. You can send every mutant in Canada after me. I ain't coming back. Wolverine, no!
And then when a bunch of the Alpha Flight members died, Sasquatch would go on to form Omega Flight, There's also Beta Flight and Gamma Flight. I think he was in all those flights. And after a few adventures, some of them actually in space, Sasquatch's mind and body would eventually get taken over by Bruce Banner, the Hulk's bad dad Brian Banner. And so they had a fight there. In addition to another possession by the One Below All. And the Sasquatch body was used to create another character called Doc Sasquatch. It was green. All of these Marvel characters just want a piece of that Sasquatch bod. But what I like most about Sasquatch, the Marvel character, are his fighting abilities. He never gives up. He's just one hell of a tough, super hairy guy. He has gone head-to-head, fist-to-fist with people like Wolverine and The Thing, Deadpool, and more. Sasquatch even slit Bruce Banner's throat one time, which caused him to turn into the Hulk, so then he got to fight the Hulk. So that was awesome. Sasquatch has even punched the helmet off of Juggernaut. Just one swing. Bam! So he puts up a pretty good fight, and you know that if you've played that Contest of Champions video game. And you could play Sasquatch in a few other video games too. And of course, my favorite appearance from Sasquatch has been in the Marvel animated stuff, like X-Men, the animated series, and that Hulk cartoon. So even though this Marvel character has very little, if not like anything to do with the real Sasquatch legend, it's still my favorite Marvel character, because Sasquatch. That legend of Sasquatch fits perfect in the world of the comic book. Because Sasquatch is my hero, so he might as well be out there fighting crime. And he's already got that superhero secret identity persona. So maybe Sasquatch is a superhero, we don't know. Or a supervillain. But it doesn't matter to me, Sasquatch is still like the best obscure Marvel character. He's not really a mainstream Marvel character yet, until the MCU gets a hold of him and turns him into an A-lister. Listen up, Kevin Feige. You know you want to. Alpha Flight could be the next Guardians of the Galaxy. And I am sure that all these comic books, these video games, these cartoons featuring Marvel Sasquatch has gone on to inspire dreamers, the curious, to go out on their own adventures and do their own research and learn more about the truth. That's what's so cool about Sasquatch. He can exist on so many levels. The fictional and the real. He's real. He can exist in comic book form, cartoon form, video game form, movie form, and he can even exist right outside your window. So if you excuse me, I'm gonna sit back here with my favorite comic book and read it over and over again. Well, just the pages with Sasquatch on it. It's times like this I wish I knew how to read. And if you have had a sighting, an encounter, or know somebody who has had anything to do with anything Sasquatch / Bigfoot / Yeti / Wood Booger, comment your comment in the comments or contact us in another way that you can. And if you have any ideas for any future episodes where we cover more of the pop culture aspect of the legend of Sasquatch, also comment those comments in the comments. So thank you very much, and keep up the search. If you're searching, and don't stop believing. If you're believing, and don't stop squatching if you're squatching. And if you're not squatching, you should start.
I can't hold it back. The animal instincts like a tidal wave changing me into...
So thank you so much. Once again, this has been That Bigfoot Show. Yes, that